I grew up in Berkeley. I went to Cal. I was a surgeon in dentistry. And I did that for 25 years, and I did 5 years as a hospice volunteer. I've lived in Oakland for 45 years. And in the past 7 decades, I've seen a lot of creative movements start. But there's only been one that I had a lot of fear of, and that was psychedelics. I feared that it was going to ruin my school or my career. So I waited until I retired. And I went to the first ERIE symposium, so 8 years ago. And in it, I immediately learned that the war on drugs has always been based on politics and never on science. That's shocking. The year I graduated UCSF was the same year that the FDA put out its schedules. That was 1972. And John Ehrlichman of Watergate infamy, and I'm sorry because I know a lot of you weren't even born. Ehrlichman admitted Nixon had 2 enemies. We knew we could not make it illegal to be against the war or against blacks. But by getting the public to associate the hippies and blacks with different drugs and then criminalizing them heavily, we could arrest their leaders. We could vilify them night after night in the evening news. Did we know we were lying about drugs? Of course we did. And to be fair, 3 other White House aides have subsequently said that Ehrlichman was just joking. He was being sarcastic. What are some of the lies that every subsequent administration has perpetuated? On psychedelics, some people often believe they can fly. They jump out of windows and die. Psychedelics are highly addictive. They have high toxicity and side effects that will lead to frequent ER visits. They are gateway drugs. They often lead to schizophrenia and psychotic breaks. All 5 are totally false. For the sake of time, I'll just cover psilocybin. It's safer than walking across the street. It's non-addictive. The more you take, the more often you take it, the less effective it becomes. It's called tolerance. It doesn't cause addiction, it treats addiction. Here's 2 examples of what happens when policies are made with no science. In the United States, cannabis is still deemed to have no medicinal value. Hello, anybody home? The lights are on in the UN, which currently is recommending all drug possession and all drug use be decriminalized. To move them out of law enforcement and the criminal justice agencies into public health and human rights agencies. Second example, dimethyltryptamine, the spirit molecule, half of ayahuasca. There's trace amounts right now in all of our lungs and pineal gland. We should all be arrested. The war on drugs has created a nation with no agreement on what is a drug, what is a medicine, what is truly dangerous, the government writes of bad trips in ER rooms. How many of you have had a personal growth from a so-called bad trip? I know I have. I hope you can see my point. After the legal walls are torn down, the mental walls of confusion from all the lies and incongruent policies will remain high. So high that along with decriminalization, I feel we must advocate for education, facilitation, and integration. In this current national darkness, what better place to light the torch of truth than right here, right now, in Oakland? As a family member and a volunteer, I've been with a score of hospice patients, facing the ultimate journey of their lives, death. And you can imagine more than a few have tremendous anxiety and fear. My 5th or 6th hospice patient was a man named Pink. In my first visit with him, his son Reggie came and put a glass of iced milk. And I talked with Pink longer. And Reggie came in and moved the glass of iced milk closer to his dad. I kept talking with Pink. Reggie came in another time, and he put Pink's fingers around the glass. Pink leaned forward. He took a sip. He looked me in the eye. And he said, "I believe Reggie loves me. He knows I love ice milk." He said, "Gary," and I still get shivers sometimes, "if Reggie brought me a truckload of milk, will I live one more day? If he brought me a truckload of ice, will it give me one more moment?" Before the next morning, Pink died. But I use this example for 2 reasons. The first, to emphasize the focus of hospice is not honoring the family food which we all bring. It's honoring the individual who is dying and who may not want any food. More importantly, hospice is the most precious time when healing can occur for all. But what I've seen is it so often stays stuck in the family patterns. We all understand why. We all came in with our egos. We tell our stories over and over. Not to others, to ourselves. And what's happening in psychedelics is there a thing called neurogenesis. You develop new synapses, new neurotransmitters, and people become unstuck. At the threshold of dying in every single lifetime, this is the culmination of a unique and special life. This is the point that human dignity and freedom can be the most valuable. Johns Hopkins, MAPS, and others have been in the trenches in this war against the war on drugs. They've done it for a long time. MAPS's homepage says, After just one dose of psilocybin, patients report a sense of euphoria, emotional well-being, peace and optimism that can last a year or more, greatly changing their outlook, even in the face of terminal illness. I want for all of you in this room, and for all the people we love, when they are in their final breath, the choice for oneness and peace of mind through plant psychedelics. That's my talk. We're on a time schedule, but I would like just a couple more minutes. Thank you. Decriminalizing movements outside of Oakland can run any way they want. But here in Oakland, our movement has been and will be about one thing: the manifestation of love that Bob presented in the beginning. Sacred Garden community, 90 days ago, as Larry said, we met. We asked ourselves, if we don't change the paradigm, who will? And now we ask each of you the same question. If we here in this room don't work to change the false paradigm around natural plants, the lies that keep hundreds of millions from understanding the benefits of nature, who will? If you've worked on this program tonight, I wish you'd stand up or raise your hand, and let's give them a round of applause. And many of these organizations are doing the hard work of facilitation and integration. If prescriptions, if wealth, if religion, if self-help books, if more and more technology were helping the masses get closer to oneness, why is there so much pain and suffering? I don't want the current FDA paradigm to continue. If you agree, join us. Commit to making Oakland a decriminalized nature zone. And if this is to be a movement, we need fuel. We need donations. We need leads to individuals and conscious corporations. Find a way to dig deeper for a meaningful cause. Thank you very much.